The following slides are going to provide some additional information and further guidance as to the role of the sponsor. First of all, it's very important that you access some essential documentation. Depending on the course that your participant is undertaking, you either need to access the National Professional Qualification for Senior Leadership or the National Professional Qualification for Middle Leadership, Final Assessment, Guidance for Participants and Sponsors. This can be located on the Hub site under the Assessment Documentation and Guidance tab. It's also accessible from the EMLC website, and your participant has been asked to provide you with a copy of this essential documentation. The guidance in the documentation is superb and needs to be followed quite strictly, because EMLC will impose penalties on any participants who submit performers and information for the assessment that has not followed the guidelines. You will be aware that your participant, whichever level of the course they're undertaking, level 1 relates to the ML qualification, level 2 relates to the SL qualification. You will note that participants have completed some essential modules, and they also have elective modules which they will have needed to have completed before submitting their final assessment documentation. There are 19 competencies which run through the leadership curriculum framework, and these are known as the competency framework. They are centred around three main areas: educational excellence, strategic leadership and operational management. The competencies are key in terms of development for the senior leader or the middle leader as they progress through the programme. It's important to note that not all 19 competencies are actually tested for final assessment. 9 competencies are tested at senior leadership level, 7 competencies are tested at middle leadership level. If you refer to the assessment guidance, you will be able to locate the specific ones which are tested at either of these levels. It is really important that the assessment documentation explicitly makes reference to these key competencies in order to pass the assessment. There are some distinct features about the two assessments, but if I talk first of all about NPQML, NPQML requires one task to be completed. The one task is leading a school improvement priority at team level. There is one performer to be submitted at the end of the project, and this is submitted electronically to EMLC. The NPQSL project requires 2 formal assessments. Task 1 is closing the gap, and Task 2 is leading a school improvement priority across the school. Task 1 has a pro forma which consists of 5 separate documents, and I've listed them there, and your participant will be able to articulate some further understanding around those. Task 2 is also a separate pro forma, and it is populated by the participant with additional guidance. Both tasks are submitted electronically to EMLC at the same time. The role of the sponsor is very important, and if you are accessing these PowerPoint slides, then it may be that you are the sponsor. Sponsors are asked to verify the evidence submitted by the participant and give their own assessment of the leadership of the projects and the positive outcomes for the school. You will be asked to give an evaluation based on the participants' leadership skills and completion of the projects. The sponsor also has to ensure that the requisite competencies are covered sufficiently in the performers that are submitted for the assessment. The sponsors actually have quite an important role in awarding the most appropriate grade. If you look at the performer, there is column 4, and there is a grading that the sponsor must award the participant. The gradings go from very good to poor, and you can note on the slide what comments are linked to those. When we have been delivering the sessions, we advise the participants that the sponsor is crucial in terms of being able to give some additional evidence for some of the competencies that might not be almost evident in your own personal work and in self-reflection. So it's really important that you make that decision based on some sound evidence and an objective view of the participants' performance on the course and their paperwork that they're going to submit. When the sponsor has completed and signed the form and the supporting documentation should be forwarded to the head teacher for sign-off. In some cases the sponsor is the head teacher, and this should be indicated on the form. but the head teacher must have a signature on the form. The head teacher will have the opportunity to review the evidence and the judgments. When that form has been signed and is completed, the documents should be submitted by the participant to EMLC, and that is an absolute essential requirement. The participants after submission will receive various updates from EMLC and from Northern Star Partnership, but the whole assessment procedure is not directly linked to Northern Star Partnership. Any assessment queries or questions need to be directed straight to EMLC, and I've indicated how to locate their website on the slide. When the participants submit their final assessment, they will be informed of the outcome approximately 10 weeks after submission. If there isn't a successful outcome, participants are granted an opportunity for resubmission, and they will be supported in doing that. If you've got any further concerns, queries or questions regarding the role of the sponsor, please do contact me. My name is Karen Watson, and I can be contacted at karenwatson@cumbria.ac.uk, and the programme administrator is Jane Nick, and her details are also on the slide.